Welcome. Today's topic is Viva and the employee experience. Today we will talk about why Viva is important, the Viva products, we'll have a demo, and we'll discuss how to get started. For additional background on Viva, make sure you check out all the resources at the end of the presentation. With that said, joining me today is Pierre-Yves Delacote and Matt Barger. Let me start off by introducing our guest. Pierre-Yves Delacote has been leading our organizational change management team at Planet. He likes to define himself as the advocate of end users and knows that a successful digital transformation is a balance between people, process, digital, and culture. He's also a big YouTuber with over 237 videos and counting, all on Office 365 and OCM. Yeah, I think he has at least 15 on Viva alone, and those are linked at the very end of the program. Matt Barger has started his career over 15 years ago and is the managing architect for the modern workplace collaboration team here at Planet. And his team focuses on solutions in SharePoint, Teams, OneDrive, Office 365 groups across all different kinds of tenant types, including SharePoint on-premise. Welcome, gentlemen. Before we get started with the discussion, let's quickly go over the agenda. Why Viva? Today's challenges. What is Viva? We're going to go over that demo like we talked about. It's going to be about 30 minutes. Where, how, and with who to get started with. Licensing, everybody's favorite topic, and of course, useful resources at the end. Now let's do do a quick poll on housekeeping and getting to know who our audience is today by doing a quick poll. So what role do you consider yourself in your organization? And if Casey can go ahead and launch this, that would be great.
Working on it, sorry.
That's okay, yeah. So just get ready. We're looking for, are you an IT person? Are you a business person? Are you on the internal communications team or something other, maybe even human resources? We just kind of want to know who you are, just so we can kind of tailor the conversation to you. All right, we'll get back to that. Oh, here it is. And the poll is now up and running. Feel free to go ahead and click. I think you can actually click more than once as far as if you're more than one topic. So just go ahead and we'll spend a couple seconds here waiting on the poll results to come in. Oh, good. We've got some internal communications folks. That's awesome. Some human resources. Of course, the overwhelming majority is probably going to be IT, which we expect. Excellent. Okay, very good. So we'll keep moving on here. Regardless of your role that you play in your organization, you all impact the employee and the organization's performance, and that is exactly what we're here to talk about today. Matt, tell us, why would an organization want to use Viva, and what are the challenges that organizations face with employees?
Yeah, thanks, Ken. So, first, why Viva? So really, Viva is all about the employees. With Viva's focus on the employees, and it does that by in the flow in where they're working today, which is Microsoft Teams. So as an organization has been forced to adopt hybrid work environments and now begin to reopen offices, organizations are spanning across digital and physical workplace environments. And it's a challenge to equip employees with the tools they need and provide connectivity to the organization's culture, goals, and vision. So, part of the Viva development, Microsoft has focused on the why, and they came up with some pretty interesting discovery as part of their surveys. So they studied that they found that employees are 12 times less likely to leave an organization. And when the employees are highly engaged, that can lead to 21% or greater profitability. And the interesting part about that is that, 73% of employees now want to have a flexible remote work option. With that desire, there's the other side of it too, is that going to hybrid or remote work is that they're 60% less connected to their team after that shift. So there's some issues there to make sure that we're engaging employees with the organization. And also two other points is that 94% of employees would stay with their organization if the employer invests in their learning and the development. And then last is about time. They found out that basically employees spend about an hour every single day or 7 weeks a year just in finding content that already exists or spending the time to recreate that content. So I think with that, the challenges that is presented here on the slide, I believe everyone from leadership, talent agents, human resources, and amongst each other, that we're living these challenges. So unclassified data is everywhere. We have Office 365 stack ranging from Outlook, OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams, and Groups, and then also non-Office 365 platforms such as Azure or LMS systems, document record management systems, and it presents a challenge whenever you're trying to discover the single source of truth. At times, just simply finding the time to locate the single source of truth is a barrier of getting work done. With cloud-based storage, there's also typically consumption or time-based billing, per month, per user, per gigabyte, whatever it may be. So storage of that duplicated data could have a major impact on budgets, and not to mention even the exposure and regulatory needs. Many times, knowledge of content located is rooted in personal notes and minds where it's at risk for employees that leave the organization or take on new roles within the organization. So I know my team and myself included, we spend a large portion of our workday in meetings, and we want to make sure that those meetings are ran efficiently. And at the end of the day, a lot of times I find myself asking, well, when do I do my work now? Since I've been in meetings. So managing schedules, work days, making content available is exponentially important in this hybrid work, but yet managing burnout and the potential burnout is top of mind of everyone. So finding resources that fit your culture and bring the required skill sets to move your organization into the future has always been a challenge. That challenge extends to current employees. Everyone on this call is a cloud adopter. We know that Microsoft platform changes almost every day. The skills we learn today and trained on today we won't get a long-term return on that training. Training needs to be at the fingertips in a model that easily consumed by the users, updated and available as the product shifts. And lastly is the engagement. Engaging our employees to ensure connectivity to the culture and the purpose of the organization. This goes beyond providing intranet policies or sites to consume information. Employees need targeted, actionable, yet personable nudges, insights, and resources to get their job done.
Well, that sounds like a lot of challenges, Matt. So let me just summarize. So what I'm hearing is, so employee experience engagement is the degree in which employees invest their cognitive, emotional, behavioral energies towards a positive organizational approach, right? So with the goal of having employees that are absorbed and enthusiastic about their work, find greater sense of meaning in what they do, possibly stronger connections between their strengths and their role that they play in the organization, and then look for opportunities. These kind of people look for opportunities to learn and grow. They're not just stagnant employees. So, and then they tend to stay longer in their organization, which I would think makes sense to everybody. So this sounds like the recipe for success. With that said, let's go ahead and do one more poll. We're kind of curious, what are your biggest employee experience challenges? We talked about some of them. Is it information chaos? Is it well-being? And we're putting up a poll here in a second. Is it productivity? Is it upskilling workforce? Maybe silos amongst the organization, engagement? What is the challenges? And they're probably more than just one. And I think this is also a multi-select poll as well. So we'll get that poll up.
The poll is launched. Is it visible?
I'm not.
Chat.
Is everyone seeing the poll? Matt, are you seeing the poll?
No.
Okay. All right, well, I'll have that poll going throughout the entire, it may come up here in a second. Let's move on though. As we move on, Matt, can you give us an overview of what the Viva platform is?
Yeah, absolutely, Ken. So at first, at the core part of it is Viva is an employee experience platform. An employee experience platform is a digital platform that puts people at the center by bringing together systems they work with of support into their integrated employee experience. And it provides people with the resources and support they need to succeed and thrive no matter where they're at. So Viva is a differentiator in this this part and where Microsoft is really positioning is that it's an extensible employee experience platform that brings together communications, knowledge, learning, resources, and insights in the flow of work. And flow of work is very important there. So Viva is powered by Microsoft 365 and experienced through Microsoft Teams. And Viva fosters a culture that empowers people and teams to be their best anywhere within their natural flow of work. So that's an employee experience platform. So let's talk now about the 4 modules of Viva. So Viva launched with 4 modules. It's over a year old, believe it or not. And those 4 modules are represented here as connections, insights, topics, and learning. Now, a 5th module, Microsoft purchased Ally.io, which will now be rolled into the Viva suite later in 2022. And there is more modules on the path. So we'll just start here on the left. So Connections is a company branded employee app in Teams. It's a gateway to their employee experience with personalized news, communication tasks, people, and resources. It provides a single curated employee destination that can be configured for specific roles like frontline workers. So leaders can communicate and engage with their employees, and employees can get easy access to the tools and resources they need from one place. So Connection builds in existing capabilities in 365, such as SharePoint and Yammer, and pulls your communications together in a pre-configured app in Teams. So this is presented in Teams in the flow of our work. Designed for both the desktop and mobile, and it's the launching pad for all other Viva modules. So we go to the right, we see Insights, brings new productivity and well-being experiences into a unified Viva Insights app in Microsoft Teams. So provide data-driven and privacy protection. So that's another key part of Viva is privacy. For individuals, managers, and leaders. For example, employees get personal insights only that they can see, those daily emails or what you see in the browser inside of Teams that help you protect your time for breaks, focus work, learning in order to promote improved productivity and well-being. So next we have topics. So topics is probably one that I'm most excited about. You can almost think of this as a Wikipedia for the enterprise. So focus on unlocking knowledge and expertise within your organization and your content, and topics applies AI to identify knowledge and experts across all your content to create shared topics. So AI takes the first pass at creating these topic pages, and then you can publish those to the organization as first draft. There is a people element in there for you to, proof and make sure that you're making topics relevant to your organization. And these topic pages are surfaced as topic cards right in the flow of work. So if you're inside of Office or Microsoft Teams, you can pull up the topic card. The 4th module is learning. So allows employees to easily discover informal and formal learning in the flow of their work. Again, inside of Microsoft Teams. It aggregates across content from LinkedIn Learning, Microsoft Learn, and third-party training content, and your own organizational content if you've created material inside of a SharePoint site, all in one place. So along with providing aggregation and recommendations, it also allows managers to assign and track training, as well as report on training within and across teams. So the last module that's been noted about Ally.io, it's an OKR module, which will enrich how people and teams come together to set goals and objectives, building alignment and achieve better business outcomes. Microsoft is working to bring that into the Microsoft Cloud and evolve the integration that exists with Microsoft Teams and make it part of full Viva suite. Office, Power BI, and the rest of the 365 services.
So can you give us some examples of what can be done in each module, Matt?
Yeah, so we'll take the same kind of left to right approach here as well. One thing I do want to note about each one of these, it's about where the employees are working and in the flow of their work.
That's exactly right, yeah.
So Connections, begins with a modern internet designed on SharePoint Online, powered by modern communication sites, global navigation, new sites, and personalized, targeted, adaptive cards and dashboards, all published and presented in the Connections app within Teams. So, you don't have to navigate to SharePoint Online. It's all right inside of Teams. So the Connection app has different components in 365 to display up-to-date content from Yammer communities, employee news, events, recordings, interactive content. And with the power of Office 365, the integration points are endless with the ability to reach into third-party solutions or across Office 365 to curate specific to the users.
So this was originally kind of positioned as almost like the new home site page in Teams, right? For almost like a pseudo intranet.
Yeah, exactly. It's the kind of the connection from Teams into SharePoint. So, we don't want users to have to go and leave. They can access that, connection to the company, the culture, all through within Teams. All right, so next we'll touch on insights. So, as a manager or leader within the organization, it's important for you to understand the work and life balance of your team, the time they had to focus on deep work, and the ability to unlock productivity. So Viva Insights highlights these areas through dynamic reports and analysis so leaders within the organization can assess the current balance of workload to look into employee well-being, management of time for people, and collaboration, the meeting culture, and ensure that people have time to focus on critical tasks. So this provides actionable insights to allow a true view of their team and allow leaders to compare their current overview of analysis of their teams within the organization too, and ensure managers are effective and look after employee well-being.
So there's a manager component and then there's a personal component, right? So most of us have probably already have seen the suggestions for focus time, and that's part of the insights module as well, right?
Yeah, so there's even a third one called leaders, which kind of aggregates across the other two layers as well. Yep. All right, so topics. So across Office 365 suite, there's applications and services that serves the distribution of your organization information can be wasted time trying to locate and find the right document or the single source of truth. And Viva Topics introduces a way to synchronize the segregation of information silos that exist. So providing a fully featured knowledge management solution to help people find the right information quickly and contact the correct people who are engaged in that piece of knowledge, which could be an acronym, a project, a program of work, a product, or even a location. As an example, Viva could be a topic itself. And then Pierre-Yves and Ken Nubler and myself could be tagged as resources about that topic. The Viva topic knowledge is surfaced through 365 apps, creating a clickable link to take you directly to the piece of knowledge. This ensures that people are always up to date, where content is located, and easily and simply connects people across different knowledge and topics. The Topic Center, which houses all the topics, is a modern SharePoint site. It provides the ability to customize and integrate into existing sites or intranets that you built for connections.
Would you say that that's like, as far as the 4 pillars of Vivo, that this one's the least mature so far, or is it still mature but just not released in GCC yet, or?
Yeah, so it's not available in GCC just yet. You're right with that. I would say that it is not a year old. I think it is just a few months old, but I think it's one of the most exciting, right? Because it surfaces information specific to the users with privacy in mind. It's not going to change any of your security on content, but it really saves the employees time from going to have to go search and find content.
So it's almost like Delve on steroids, but even more so.
Yeah, exactly. That's good.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a good analogy.
Cool. All right.
All right. So learning. So investing in people maintains job satisfaction. That was one of the key things that Microsoft identified as they went down this path of creating Viva. It keeps and improves employee job retention. Why Viva Learning is such a core component of connecting people to the right learning materials with different content providers. The content providers' learning materials surfaced inside of Teams, again, in the flow of how they work inside of Microsoft Teams, and provides the capability to create custom playlists to assign to team members or create new employee onboarding scenarios. And the Viva Learning app will allow you to share and recommend learning content to colleagues and also centralize everything into one easy place inside of Microsoft Teams.
Excellent. So let's take a quick break here and look at the poll real quick. Just we'll spend one couple seconds here. Looks like the breakdown, information chaos, everybody has that same problem. Silos, everybody has that problem. I'm curious that well-being is as low as it is with all their difficulty it is in retaining and recruiting employees today. I think well-being is something we got to get better at, but that's my personal opinion. But again, it takes this whole thing that takes all these pillars to really build that employee experience and that engagement to keep those employees happy and hopefully stick around a lot longer. So with that, I know we have a question in the chat. We'll save that to the end. So thank you for putting your question in. Please put other questions in. We'll definitely get to that. Pierre, please go ahead and give us a demo of what this all looks like and kind of show us how it works.
Sure, thanks, Ken. So we're going to start with Viva Connections, and since it's all about intranet, here's a SharePoint intranet, a typical modern SharePoint intranet. There's a new thing that you're going to probably need to deploy. It's what is called the global navigation here. So it's a way to navigate, just like it's not on top of the screen, but it's on the left of the screen. So that's the first thing that's going to be new in your environment. So you need to modernize your SharePoint for sure to enable Viva Connections. And then there are some components that are coming with Viva Connections. There's a web part called Feed for Viva Connections, where you're going to see all the news that you are following. So that will be tailored to your profile. And also, I think what's the most interesting is you'll be able to have a dashboard. And this dashboard is composed of adaptive cards. So those little cards are called adaptive cards. And you can present a lot of tools, a lot of information through those adaptive cards. And they can even be interactive or not. So here's an example how you develop the adaptive cards. It's based on the standard framework. Just want to show you that. But here you can, let's say, I don't know, my payslip. I can see my payslip, so it's really tailored to me. So you can build those adaptive cards that connects to your environment, to your system, to whatever you want, and present it to the end user. What's interesting is this adaptive card. I'm going to show them a little bit differently. I'm going to edit them to show you that first it will be displayed in the mobile experience, since Viva Connection is also provided on mobile. And you'll be able to target, that's what I think is very interesting. You can target this adaptive card to an audience. So here you can select the audience and just if you need to create some groups and target what you want to present to the end user. So the whole idea of Viva Connection is to present information based on what people really need. Today, information chaos is also about having too many emails coming from maybe from the corporation that you don't care about some of those emails and you're zapping those emails. So having a centralized point of information where you can find the information tailored to your needs, to your interests, the feeds you're following, the dashboard that you have access to, etc., is the goal of Viva Connection. So here we're not in Viva Connection, we're in SharePoint. So how does it translate in SharePoint, in Teams? So in Teams, you will have the ability to deploy this app, Viva Connection, so you can change the name, change the logo, and deploy it on the side. You can deploy it for everybody or for a few people. For example, maybe when you're in a test phase, you just want to deploy it for a pilot users only. But you will see this appearing on the left, and you can pin it wherever you want, and you will have access to your intranet just like that. And also, you will see when you click here, you can see you can navigate the Viva Connections directly here. So here, I can navigate from the SharePoint just like I did earlier in SharePoint. But I'm staying in Teams. You cannot imagine having this just this icon, this intranet pinned in Teams, there are some data coming from Microsoft. They say that the reach is 30% better than an intranet. When you're deploying your intranet in Viva Connections, the reach to the intranet is 30% better. So that means that people will find information they're not used to find because it's in Teams. That's where they work. It's in the flow of your work. That's what it is. It's in your Teams environment. So that's I think that's about it. But Teams, we'll discuss a little bit more about Teams connection, but we'll discuss a little bit more what how you can deploy that. What are the what is the methodology to deploy Viva connection layer? So let's switch now to Viva topics. So I'm going to switch to our Planet environment this time. So let's imagine I'm new to Planet, and I heard that Planet is doing OCM, but I don't have a clue of what is OCM. Nobody told me what is OCM. I don't know where the information is. I don't know who are the experts. So I know Office 365, so I'm going to search for OCM, keyword OCM, and I'm going to find a lot of information. There's a lot of information. I can see there's a lot of sites, a lot of documents, a lot of folders, and I don't know where the source of truth is, quite frankly. That's where Viva Topics is very beneficial. On top of the search, you can see that he found first the topic, because there's a topic that is called organizational change management, and we can see there's alternate name, OCM, that's how he found it. And I can see directly here that the people who are knowledgeable, so I can have a glimpse of who is an expert on this topic, but also the resources. And maybe I can, just clicking on it, see more of that. What's really organizational change management? And here I can see that's a topic, what we call a topic card. And the topic card is really a set of information that Viva Topics discovered. It's AI based, and it's discovered a lot of information. So first, for example, it discovered the definition because he found a deck and he thought there was a definition in the deck that was interesting. So he showed that and discovered some people that were connected. It suggested it suggests other people, so you can pin those people. A knowledge manager can say, oh, okay, this person is a contributor to OCM, is knowledge expert on OCM. There are suggested files also. So as a knowledge manager, not as an end user, you can say, for this topic, I want to highlight this document. And that's a way you improve your topics. That's a way machine learning is working. Machine learning is first crawling everything, bringing back some topics, and then human has to kick in and has to say, this is important, this is valuable, add some layout, because a Viva topic page card is a SharePoint page, so you can add some visual if you want. And then you have to, as a human, you have to say what is really important, where Viva topic was wrong or where it was right, and that's how you enhance your topics. So that's really beneficial. And if I look down here, I can see their sites suggested. So let's and this even he sees that my topic of OCM is related to other topics. I didn't do anything. He found out that in Planet environment, the OCM topic is related to another topic called Evolve 365. Evolve 365 is a learning platform. Of course, training is important in OCM. And he found also customers, because the topics could be, product name, a project name, a customer name. So he created a suggestion of topics that are connected. So I can navigate into that. So let's see here, I can see there's a website that might be interesting. It's a website, the SharePoint side for our West team. And I can see there's a nice SharePoint site. And as you can see here, there's a term organizational change management. And again, if I don't know this term, I just have to over my mouse onto this text, and I can see the topic card. And once again, I'm jumping into the topic card. So wherever organizational change management is mentioned, I will go back to this topic in the search, in a web page, in SharePoint page, but also let's go into an email. Let's say I'm going to send an email to somebody saying, look at the resource, look at the OCM resources. Often people are, lost with that. Yeah, you're nice to tell me that, but first I don't know what OCM is, and second I don't know where it is. So if you want to help people, if you know there's a topic, you just use the hashtag and then you type your topic, and then here there's a topic, and then you can send, and the person who will receive the email will see a topic again. So the topic will appear, it will soon appear in Teams too, and it will appear in every component along the way. So that's really the goal of topics. Just maybe a final thing on topics. When you're a user, you have a topic center page where the topic will gonna ask you to help him. You're gonna say, I found a topic called Microsoft Teams. Maybe you could take a look at it. So just the same thing. But do you think you want to be listed on this topic as, knowledgeable? That's how you say to the system that you're knowledgeable about a topic. And that way it will make this topic in a state of suggested topic. And then you can, here, that's what a knowledge manager is going to see. So it's a certain people who have to curate those topics, because obviously you're going to have a lot of topics, because there's a lot of discovering that has been done behind the scene by AI. And so you can switch, you can validate, you can say this topic doesn't mean anything, this topic means something, and then we're going to switch to confirm, and then you can enhance the topic, so you can go into the topic and see what really Viva topic discovered, and then you can publish it, and that's where it will be accessible to everybody. So that was topics, a really quick overview of topics. Is very powerful. It will bring knowledge to the end user through some sort of names or keywords that are resonating with your organization.
And then,
So
hey, the PY, just from a security perspective, because some people may think this, because I know I was concerned when I was running a tenant. From a Delve, just like Delve, it only surfaces content that you have permission to see, right? So that's the security concern there. And if you want to hide certain data, you can certainly hide data so it doesn't crawl against that as well.
Exactly. So it will trim with the security that is applied to the document you're trying to surface. And also you can, in the crawling, you can say what you don't want to crawl. And you can say also, if it discovered topics, for example, you're going to purchase a company, and it discovered a lot of information based, maybe some documents that are public because you forgot to block the access. It's accessible to everybody. You can say this topic name, I don't want it to be seen. So there's, definitely the security is well addressed. So let's switch now to Viva Insight. So you already probably know all of you Viva Insight. So I'm going to switch to there's several components in Viva Insight actually. So let me switch first to Viva Insights and show you. And you probably have that in Teams already. So there's a lot of information. I'm not going to be able to spend all to explain all the UI here, but in Viva Insight, there's an add-on just like for connections in Teams. You can see it's called personal insight, so you can see insights here to you. Only you going to be able to see that. You can protect time, book some focus time directly. You can eventually also set up some what they call a virtual commute. So I do that, for example, at the end of the day, I receive a notification, and that's something I set up that will walk me through my day, so I can assign me tasks for the next day, and then I can see what's coming. I can see if I forgot to answer some request to a meeting, etc. So that's one thing. So in Viva, in Teams, you have this add-on. You can also catch up on what you have missed. Maybe same thing. There's a message that was sent. Maybe I didn't answer it from different people. It can be an email message, a chat message. It could be a meeting I didn't respond. So it helps me. Viva Insight helps me to catch up on what I've been missing. And probably you see this email coming every day, the Microsoft Viva daily briefing, where you have information tailored to your the context of the day, maybe documents that can help you during the day. That's really powerful. But it's something people don't know. There's an add-on in Outlook and Outlook for the web too. Here in Viva, this add-on helps you to find out a lot of things. So for example, you can catch up on documents this way, so you can see maybe the documents you didn't read that could be useful to be read. You can see, you can catch up with your team if you didn't have a one-on-one recently with your peers. You can catch up on a lot of things. You can follow up on your request. Maybe you ask a question and you didn't have an answer, so it tells you, hey, you have asked this question. That is happening every day. I can tell you that every day I'm looking at this Viva Insight components because I have so many information flowing around me that I need some help to remind me what I missed. So that's one element of Viva Insight. Another element which is very powerful on Viva Insight, and I'm going to show you in the demo environment, is Viva Insight for leaders. That's what we call organizational insights. So there's insight, personal insight. There's manager insight. Basically, it's the same thing, but at the dimension of the team of the manager. But there are organization insights. So organization insights are very powerful because it's a lot of dashboards built on signals like emails, meetings, chat. So everything that is in Office 365 can be a signal almost, and they can from that they build dashboard to tell you that maybe you have some issues regarding some aspect of your environment. Maybe you have employee experience issue. Maybe you have team effectiveness issues. So you have a lot of dashboards that are coming to Viva Insight for organization. But you can go even further. You have a specific dashboard called Workplace Analytics, where you can see a lot of dashboards with more details. So here for an example, I'm just going to show you because there are so many dashboards here. That's really impressive. I'm going to show you the dashboard about the transform the meeting culture. So it can tell you that, for example, here, 97% of employees spend majority of the time in long time meeting or large meetings. So there might be some optimization here. So it will recommend you some best practice, but it will also tell you, because in Viva Insights you can inject your own HR data, so you can identify it, for example here the division, and it can tell you need to focus on these divisions, and you can even go further. You can explore the statistic eventually in Power BI. If you have Power BI, I'm going to just do that, and it will give you way more details. Since we injected, and that's a demo environment, but we injected the hourly salary here, we can measure how much money we lost by ineffective meetings. And we can figure out in what division we have the biggest problem. So it's really powerful, even more powerful. You can query your own data. So you can you have a query builder here, and you can query whatever you want. The signals are just going to show you the query user interface. So you can query against everything that is retrieved in Office 365 and segment it by organization, by whatever you injected, by region, by time zone, whatever that you injected, and you can query all the signals and get the data of what are the people doing with the technology. For example, there was a good example the other day. I saw that 76% in organization, 76% of the people didn't have a one-on-one with their manager. This is huge. This is a huge problem. That shows maybe you had the perception something was not going well, and you didn't know exactly. Here you have the data to back it up. Then you have to decide what you're going to do with this data. So that was Viva Insight. And let's finish with Viva Learning. So Viva Learning, as Matt said, it's a centralized place where you can surface all the training courses in the flow of your work, in Teams again. So you can see all the courses that are provided, depending on what ELMS you plugged in, depending on what sources you plugged in. But basically, you have a dashboard where you can say, here are the subjects that interest me. You can find a subject. It's a way to segment your navigation. So here, if I type Microsoft Teams, will it find Microsoft Teams? So yeah, I can add this subject, and then it will show me based on my interest. Again, it's an employee experience. So people want to, only see what they really need. So based on my interest, I can see, depending on the provider I plugged in, I can see all the courses that are, it may be in trend today. I can even search. I can filter by providers. So here there's a lot of providers in this demo environment. I can filter by duration. So if I want to focus, I don't have a lot of time. I want to focus only on training under a certain amount of time. But I also can search for example, if I can search the Microsoft Teams. Same thing, I'm going to be able to say, okay, I'm going to filter by provider. I don't have LinkedIn Learning, so I'm going to filter on Microsoft Learn, maybe Microsoft Training. And you can see all the provider here that are compatible with Viva Learning. And I can look at all this content and see, if there's a training that fits to me, and I can consume the training directly here, launch the training. I can add it to the calendar. I don't have the time right now, so I add it to calendar. I can bookmark it. I can, if I'm a manager, I can recommend it to my peers. So I can say to a set of individuals, I don't know who's in this demo, I can say you should blah blah blah. You should I recommend this training to be taken. And you, as a manager, if you're a manager, you will have this tab, and you will be able to follow to see what you suggested to or you recommended to your peers, and to track if people have completed the training. So that was a really quick overview of the 4 modules. That was a challenge to show 4 modules. It's 4 products in such a short time, but the idea was to give you an overview, and now we need to switch back to the deck so we can explain, how we see the deployment happening.
Very good, very good. And that is some powerful, capabilities there. Like we said, this was just a quick showing of the 4 modules. We'll talk more at the end, but we're running a little bit long on time. So we'll talk more about, some takeaways and some ability to have a briefing afterwards. We've got our next poll up right now. If you could go ahead and fill it out. So we just showed you the 4 modules. We're kind of curious what you think was the most powerful, or if you think there's more than one, by all means, select more than one. Kind of curious to hear what you guys are thinking. Insights is available for everybody. You can go ahead and grab it off if your admins allow you to grab apps. The app is available right now for Viva Insights. So it's something definitely you can get started with and taking a look at individually if you're allowed to grab those apps. So here's the polls are coming in. Seems like everything looks good. Seems like Mostly insights. I'm surprised connections isn't higher. That was my personal thought, because it is kind of like your new home site in Teams, connecting SharePoint to your Teams and everything else. But it's a close second to insights. And let's keep going though, because we got lots more to cover here as we try to wrap this up. So PY, we'll now go into some details about how to get started. Can you tell us how to get started?
Sure. So as you heard, don't even consider Viva if you don't have Teams, but I hope everybody has deployed Teams. So the first requirement is Team. Then for connections, it's also true for topics. You need to modernize your SharePoint site. So you need to if you didn't do that, you need to modernize the SharePoint site. It's better to have a Yammer environment since we're discussing about connections. You know, Yammer is all about connections, but it's not mandatory. So it's a plus. It's not mandatory, but in some environment, Yammer is not available. So it's not a problem if you don't have Yammer. It just brings more connections, and you need to work on the identifying what audience you want to target, what kind of application you want to target with your audience. For topics, so modernization is key. The number of documents, Microsoft is saying that you need to have 20,000 documents to start with topics because machine learning won't work very well above that. And you need also to identify who are the knowledge managers, because it's nice that topics is bringing a lot of topics, but then you need to have somebody who's going to curate that and enhance those information and can tell AI, hey, you were wrong here. There has to be at one point there has to be a human saying, you're right, you're wrong, or here I'm going to feed you with more information. For learning, it's definitely a discussion with HR. So HR needs to be involved. You need also to consider if if you can plug your LMS and see how you integrate your LMS. And also, I didn't show that, but you can plug your internal training. So if you have internal training, it's not in LMS. You can store your training in SharePoint, and Viva Learning can surface SharePoint content and bring it to Viva Learning. And insights, it's mostly so you need to inject some data coming from your HRS system. And also, I didn't show that, but you can inject data coming from your CRM. So you can have insights saying, okay, is there a correlation between the emails, the chat, the meeting we have with a customer and the income that we're doing with this customer? This is possible. So there's a lot of HR involvement because there's a lot of discussion about, what are we doing with this data now? It's just, insight. It's just about insights. Now the call to action, having those insights, it's HR has to make some decision. What kind of governance, what kind of best practice I want to share? How do I educate the managers about it, and so on? And eventually you need to involve the leadership team.
Yeah, so the key here is definitely have to have Teams deployed, definitely have to have modern SharePoint. You can't be using those old classic SharePoint sites. All right, let's move on. Go ahead, PY.
So in terms of deployment, I will say maybe it's not typical. I will say 20% is IT, is technical, 80% is really non-IT, is mostly cultural. So we just shared, I don't want to go over, all the details here, but here are for each module, here's the typical way we approach those projects, the typical activities that are important for each of these projects. So there is technical activities, but there are also business analysis, analyst activities. There's also change management activities for each module. Personally, I will say connections. If you already have an intranet, you just want to expose your intranet in Teams, that's almost a no-brainer. You need some technical, to understand some technical aspect of it, but it can be very fast. Topics, I will say, topics require really a lot of time to curate the information. It will take time. it will take time for you to see what are the benefits before you deploy it to all the organization. Insights, I think it's you already have insights, or you already, I think that people are not well educated on insights, on personal insights. So I think there's a need for OCM here. But for organizational insights, it's a discussion with leadership team, with HR, to see what you're going to do with those data. So that's there's some technical aspect, because it's not straightforward to understand how you inject HR information in Insight and how you deploy technically some aspect of it. But it's mostly, I will say, the rest 90% of the job in Insight is discussing with the business what data, because what I've seen is when you're starting to show those insights to the management, they're freak out, because they see that, wow, we have 76% of our managers who are not having one-on-one with their managers or with their direct reports. What are they going to say first? They're going to say, I'm challenging this data. So that's a way to discuss first with the leadership team, to show them, okay, maybe we can, because I didn't show you, you can exclude some meetings from the data. I don't know if you have, for example, virtual meetings every week, virtual coffee, that we have that activity at Planet. Maybe you want to exclude that from the data, but you will need to have some discussion with your leadership team and HR to see how you're going to leverage those data, and how you're going to fine tune this data. Learning, I think it's mainly a discussion with HR and management. HR is, what is the curriculum we want to propose? How we want to influence the learning experience, and what are the courses we want to promote? And I have a discussion with also the management, so they can recommend some courses.
Excellent, excellent. Let's move on real quickly now, Matt. If you can just quickly talk about the licensing of how this works, what's included, what's not.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first and easy one is that Microsoft provides a suite. The suite, as you've seen, that purple bar, is $9 per user per month, and that gets you access to all 5 modules. But it's a little bit more difficult than that. So connections, that's 100% included in your existing Office 365 licenses, ranging from the F series to the full E5 or G5 licenses. So you can deploy those as features become available to the specific cloud types. Now, we go into Viva Insights. There was a question about that in the chat. That can be purchased exclusively by itself for $4 per user per month. But Insights is one of those that splits between free and paid. So the free part, where you get the personal insights, the daily briefing emails, the app inside of Teams or the browser, that where it focuses on the employee is the free part. So as soon as you want to transition to provide ability for insights across your organization as a leader and manager, or provide deep analysis into the work behaviors, that was previously provided by a product called Workplace Analytics that's being consolidated into the Viva platform, and that's where you would need that $4 per user per month for insights. Topics is the one module that is 100% has to be either purchased as a $4 per user per month, or through the suite price. Yep. And then Viva Learning is just like Insights. It has the free version and the paid version. So the paid version is where you want to do the integration and aggregation of all your content from external LMS systems, integration with third-party content providers, and do some of the course recommendations and progress tracking would trigger the $4 per user per month. And now the Ally IO, Microsoft is rolling that into the suite. But again, if you want to get started on that, you could actually go and purchase it separately to start using it today.
Awesome, thanks. We're going to go ahead and just throw this poll up. We're kind of curious about, after today's session, do you have a better understanding of how Viva can improve your employee experience? And then we'll move on to the wrap up, because I know we got some more questions to answer. We've got lots of useful resources here, things I want to hit on here. Obviously, we've got our typical Microsoft resources. Planet's written 3 articles on this, or 2 blogs and an article, so definitely check this out. This is the most recent one that Pierre Yves just wrote on how to and what's in it for you, kind of corresponding to today's webinar. And then obviously PY has over 237 YouTube videos, 15 on Viva, so definitely check those out. And then obviously lots of Microsoft Learn contents available as well. And so let's stop and answer some questions. I think let's go back to the beginning. We only have a couple minutes. If we don't get to the questions, but they will definitely be in the follow-up email. So can you clarify what's in GCC quickly, Matt or PY? If you can just quickly say that. If not, we can follow up on the chat. I mean, on an email.
Yeah. So I think briefly is. Adaptive cards is still an issue. The desktop app for connections is still an issue. Insights is I don't believe is quite yet on the roadmap for GCC or even GCC High.
Personal Insight going to be available in June this year on GCC.
Personal part.
But
Yep.
Organizational Insight they're forecast for 2023 June.
Okay. Got some time there. Yeah, I think that's an important one, Ken. I think we should include that in the follow-up anyways.
Yeah, we'll definitely put all these questions in writing. All right, so let's start the wrap up here. I want to make sure we, and we'll definitely get to those questions in writing afterwards. So let me hand this off to Casey real quick. Casey, go ahead.
Thanks, Ken. For all of our YouAlreadyOwnIt members on the call today, we are offering a Viva briefing on this topic. We've got a couple of options that we have available, but this is a 2-hour session where you can either do a deep dive into an individual component or module if that's something that you're interested in, or a bit deeper conversation on all 4 modules. So if that's something that you're interested in, either of those options, just email us at youalreadyownit@go-planet.com, and we will reach out to you and get that set up.
Excellent. Thanks, Casey. So next month, please come back and join us. The topic's going to be conditional access, getting started to advanced topics, so you'll definitely won't want to miss that. And then we've got a bunch of great topics coming up. We've got the Microsoft Build Digest. We're going to go over Microsoft, what happens in Microsoft Build. That's happening in May. Give you a purview update. And then in July, we're going to talk about Teams Voice, and update on that and where that's at. And then obviously Microsoft Information Protection, something that we're hearing from a lot of customers, August 25th. Just a reminder, if there's a topic that you want to hear in the future, please send us an email at YouAlreadyOwnIt at go-planet.com, or talk to your account executive or cloud strategist. We want to thank you for your time today. We hope you found this useful. And with that, we want to wish you a good day, and we'll see you next month.